Hello. I hope you're doing well, Bree. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully audio's good. Didn't have any hiccups this time. I hope. Good, thank you. Okay. Switch scenes here. Okay. So how are you two doing? So I do apologize if my mic is catching a tiny bit of my fan. And noise suppression isn't completely getting rid of all of it. If it bothers you, just let me know and I can angle it away a little bit. Okay. First, I guess I'll start off with seeing what the deck has to say to you today. So get out of here. Let's see what the deck has to say. Would you like to say to those who are watching currently? It already spit out a card. And that card would be Chaos. Wonderful. Are you going to be sassy today, deck? See what Chaos has to say. Chaos says, we each have our own chaos. The goal is to not let it rule you. It's easy to put it in the junk drawer of our mind to revisit it at another time. The problem is that we can't predict when that drawer opens. It can leak out of us, beckoning us to follow. For some of us, it's intoxicating. An old lover that gives us a high. For others, it looks like a snarling wolf, ready to rip us apart. But name the chaos. Acknowledge it for what it truly is, even if it scares you. Even if you're dancing with it in a way that you know you shouldn't, a little too close for comfort. Let it know that you see it. Living in that shadow can be necessary. Sometimes the only way out of the pattern is through. But don't dress it up to make it more acceptable. Don't say you're in love when you know they're a drug. You may not be able to muster enough energy to change in this moment, but at the very least, call it what it is. Sometimes that is all that's needed to take the steam out of the engine, to put a little more weight on the brakes. It is quite a message to start off with. What I'm getting out of that one is to acknowledge the darker parts of yourself and let them be seen. I know this is a message that's popped up for me a few times already, just using this deck. Sometimes that part of ourselves can be a little harder to accept. Well, with that out of the way, I guess it's probably time that I open up the cube. Okay. The queue should now be open if you wish to join. It also reminds me, I should probably put up make the command visible somewhere on screen. I'll have to remember that before next time. For anyone who might wish to join, who might be watching, if you type exclamation point read me, you can join the queue. The queue is now open. That means that you're up first. Are you ready then? Okay. What message does Lan hear? That was immediate. Card you got is Mystery. Oh yeah, do you want me to put up the booklet up on screen again? I forgot to ask that. Alright. Let's see. Mystery 1. Mystery page 19. Mystery says, do not try to strain your eyes. Let the picture come into focus in its own time. It's a practice, coaxing our eagerness to sleep and letting ourselves just enjoy the unfolding. But imagine you were the first person to see the northern lights, standing in the bitter cold with otherworldly colors dancing around you. You likely wouldn't jump to trying to figure out what they were. You would sit in awe. Let yourself be in that awe of your own life. Let yourself lose language and logic and conclusions, and see it all with your eyes wide. Be curious. Let yourself take wrong turns, hit dead ends, double back a couple times. Embrace the mystery. You will never have it all figured out. Relish in that. Yeah, what I get out of that one is particularly the part that stands out the most to me is yeah, the last part there. You will never have it all figured out. Relish in that. I know with the messages in particular that you've been getting lately, to me, again, this feels like it's reiterating not to rush things, just let the change occur at its own pace. And remember that it doesn't always have to be big steps. Just gradual change over time. And you'll eventually get where you want to be. But this is also a reminder to enjoy that time as well, I feel like. Yeah, pretty much. I guess, since I haven't given you a reading today, do you want me to pull out the tarot deck? I can expand upon it if you want to. Okay. Okay. What message does Lan need to hear today? Got the Three of Wands, Eight of Swords reversed. And Justice reversed. So for me, essentially this is saying that you're going to essentially to keep making progress towards moving out of this this negative situation here, and one that potentially feels like a bit unfair. Essentially that you will get out of the situation. You just need to keep moving forward and keep working to make that progress. Yes. So essentially, keep essentially keep motivated and keep putting in the work. Is that looks out of focus? Is that out of focus? Can you see those okay? A little out of focus. Let me refocus here. Is that better? Okay, good. I hope the message helps. Okay. Okay. Um, well, if anyone's currently watching and they wish to join the queue, the command to join queue is exclamation point read me if you would like to join. It's okay if you don't. Until then, I suppose I'll just give myself a reading. So, I guess, what message do you have for me today? Okay. Endure. Let's see what that has to say. What page is that on? Endure is on page 38. Endure says, keep going. Like a desert road that stretches on for miles, it may not seem like there's an ending in sight, but trust that there is. To endure is to take the next breath, to willingly turn the other cheek, to resolutely accept. It's not about giving in, it's about getting back up each time, knowing it will happen again. We get stronger each time we stand. We are enduring this battle, knowing that we will win the next one. Like a warrior in training, whose body is being put through brutal adversity so that they will be prepared. It's not glamorous, but there is magic in simply getting through, of moving towards the sun, but not feeling its heat yet. Our ancestors all had to journey, to traverse the harsh landscapes that sprawled on endlessly, uncertain if their lifelines would be severed too soon, but they still endured. That same strength flows through your veins. Let it rise within you, and when you doubt it, think of them and keep going. Yeah, that was probably, most certainly, a message I needed to hear today. Alright. I guess I'll ask the deck if it has anything to say to people who might be watching. Is there anything you'd like to say to those who might be watching? Any message that you think they might need to hear right now? Discovery? Needle. So both beautiful cards. Okay. And let me see. Guess we'll go with Discovery first. Discovery is page 89. Discovery says, we will always want to make sense of things, to package them up nicely, assign them a purpose and find reason. Discovery asks you not to. When we are uncovering, we do not need to find a label. We don't need to categorize or ascribe a meaning. We do not need to react or project into the future. We just need to stay open, to stay in the moment of discovery. When we attempt to define what's coming up, we are putting up blocks and seeing the whole picture. We want to keep our arms wide, hungry for the discovery, to bear witness and let it land within us, however it chooses to. We may not see or feel the seeds being planted, but trust that they are. That's a nice message. And needle is on page 22. Needle says, let your intention steer you. Needle asks for precision. There is always a time to go with the flow, to explore opportunities, to say yes. But this is not it. Whether you are just beginning or have been journeying for some time, It is time to revisit the origin point. Life has a way of pushing us off course sometimes, which is why we want to have a plan. And when we do get off course, we must check back in to right our way. Like ships at sea, if we begin our journey just 1 degree off, we will end up hundreds of miles away from our desired destination. This is a moment for intention and exactness. Whether you have a blank canvas or a need to reevaluate, it is time to reflect and get clear. Well, I hope if there's anyone watching who perhaps needed to hear those messages, I hope they helped you in some way. If you wish to join the queue is still open. If there's anyone watching who might wish to join. Just type !read me to join the queue to get a reading from this deck. If you don't want to, that's fine too. I'll be back in just a moment. I need to go step away to go do something. My apologies. Okay, I'm back. My apologies. Needed to stretch my legs for a second. Starting to cramp a little bit. I'm curious, kind of debating. For some reason, I kind of want to pull out my other oracle decks. There's one in particular I feel like is kind of calling out to me, and I feel like it might have a message that it wants to share. Or at least maybe I should offer options for people who want to get a reading. Luckily, I have them all right next to me. So currently the deck I've been using is this one. It's called the Empyrean from the Threads of Fate. It's one of my favorite decks that they've made. But I do have two other decks. Two other Oracle decks. This is the one that I use most often. It's called Work Your Light, made by Rebecca Campbell. This is the one that I use the most. This is the one that I use in my everyday. Many of its messages are very wonderful. I use this one less often, but it is still equally as wonderful. It is the Moonology Oracle deck by Yasmin Boland. I guess if anyone would like to join Q and get a reading from either of the other decks, you're free to make a choice if you wish. All three of them are wonderful decks. The Empyrean can be particularly punchy sometimes. It's very useful if you want brutal honesty, but if that's not your thing, well... This one in particular. I'm going to use it really quick. Do you have a message for those who might be currently watching? Message do you have? It is time to release old soul stories that have been playing out in your life. They are coming up to be healed. There has never been a safer time to clear these patterns than right now. Take a look at patterns in your life that you are ready to release. Ancient vows and contracts that your soul made that have an expiry date. It could be a vow of silence or chastity or poverty. It is time to unwind from them. This is the life in which you free yourself from trauma of lives past. What old ways of being have an expiry date? When you name them, you claim them, and they stop holding power over you. When acknowledging these old patterns, it is also important to acknowledge how they have served you up until now. For example, a soul pattern of playing small, caused by a soul fear of being seen or sharing your voice, would have served you by keeping you safe. In order to grow, you now need to soften by receiving and calling in support. It is time to unbind from the old ways of being that are no longer sustainable. I feel like that goes really well with the card that I first drew when I asked the other deck. I think that was Chaos? I think was the card. Yes. It goes very well with chaos, the first card that I drew when I asked the Empyrean what message it had to say. Welcome back. So it's still open if anyone would like to join. So I probably will call it here soon. Body is already telling me it's sad. Time to go rest soon. I don't want to push it too far. Again. Thank you for joining the queue. I am currently doing Oracle card readings with the Empyrean deck from Threads of Fate. So, I mean, if you'd like to, I also do have 2 other decks that you can choose from, so completely up to you. Currently only doing general readings, but if you'd still like one, I'm happy to ask what message it has to give you. Okay. What message does Nayla need to hear currently? Two of them. First one is Oblivion. The second one is Abandon. Oblivion. The price of refusing to see can be steep. We end up living in a house made out of matches. Our minds become combustible and fragile. Oblivion asks you to look now before it's too late. Wherever you have been skirting things under the rug or pushing off to the next day, it is time to confront them. The oblivion is often laced with ego, the areas in our life where we have told ourselves that we were in the right, everyone else is wrong, where we think we are better and more evolved than others. But really, we are all human. No person will ever be perfect or have it all together. When we stay in the oblivion, it is typically coming from a place of deep insecurity. We make band-aids out of our progress. I manifested this, so it means I have worked through that old pattern. Our brain simplifies the work so we don't have to accept the fact that we will never get there, the place where we have nothing left to work on. But if you can accept that you will never arrive, it releases the pressure you're living within, creating an escape from the oblivion. Is this a large pattern for you? Or maybe you just have a single black hole you've been avoiding. Whatever it is, now is the time to explore it. What I'm getting from this one in particular is that, to accept that sometimes there isn't an end to a specific journey, but rather it's not about the destination so much as it is the journey. And that sometimes changing things is changing things just requires constant work. There really isn't an end to that work. The other one was Abandon. This one says, there is always a last time. Sometimes we think we have found it. The person, the place, the thing. Only for enough time to pass to realize it wasn't the world. It was a snow globe that we dared to be real. And like a houseplant that has outgrown its pot, we too must leave sometimes. So we gather our grief and carry it in our shaking hands. Or we walk out with an emptiness that feels like permafrost. Or we steal away like a thief in the night. The shape in which we are leaving is not as important as honoring the knowing. We must bend to it, even when it's hard. Even when it is so much easier to stay in our small pot. To abandon is to love the snow globe for what it was. A momentary home. A pocket we whispered our dreams into. And we can find a space for it on the altar of our hearts while we walk the open road. Yeah, What I always get out of this one particularly is the part that says, and like a house plant that has outgrown its pot, we too must leave sometimes. Um, Again, going with the last theme of the card, that sometimes growth is a never-ending journey. It requires constant work. But also to remember that growth doesn't always mean massive change. It just means constant small steps. I hope that I hope you could identify with part of that message in some way. Of course. Thank you for stopping by. We're gonna be time to call it soon. So if there's anyone who might be watching who wishes to join, queue is still open. If you wish to join, the command to join is !readme. If you don't wish to join, that's okay too. Regardless, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for your time. Hello. If you wish to join, the command... Yes, I am. If you wish to join, the command to join is !readme. I'm currently just doing general readings with the deck you see here on screen. Command listed there. The command is !readme. It's in the message above. If you wish to join the queue. Thank you. Oh, no problem. Okay. Let's see. What message do you need to hear currently? Oh. What? First one is reflection. And the second one is earth. Yeah, they're very beautiful. All the cards in this oracle deck are lenticular prints. the first one is reflection. Let's see. Reflection. It's on page 65. Reflection says, once we see, we can't unsee. And those of us who have had that first taste of seeing ourselves and not shrinking in fear enter into a marriage with the work. It becomes that which we see life through. It's not easy, which is why so few do it. We shed and we shed and we shed, and then we realize we will never stop shedding. We fall in love with this maze, the place we call home. Because if there is one thing that truly belongs to us, this is it. To traverse this landscape within us is to be a collector. We collect the memories of moments and traumas, signs and questions. Before we awake, we spend our lives ignoring that which lies below the surface. The ugly we want to edit, the truth we want to pretend doesn't exist. We don't want to explore because we know we will be forced to change. When we finally take the plunge, we start looking for something in everything. Every little thing is significant. Eventually, we hope to land in a place of balance, where we can enter into reflection and inquiry when needed and enjoy our life without overanalyzing the rest of the time. Each time we loop around this maze, we fall more in love with this process. It stops being a chore we begrudgingly do. We start seeing the beauty in meeting with our pain, of cleaning out our wounds, stitching them up, and keeping the gift they offer us. Reflection is carrying this medicine we've made with us. We get to wear these hard-earned talismans. They become invisible ink on our skin, armoring us up for our future, knowing we can now do things differently. Reflection asks you to find balance in this process. Love it more if that's needed. Go easier on yourself if it's overwhelming for you. Life is hard, painful, and heavy, but it is also a game. Don't take it so seriously. What I'm getting in particular out of this one is, that, sometimes the path to growth is never-ending, and sometimes it's important to remember that. But this is also, I feel, telling you not to fear that. And also, don't forget to enjoy it. Perhaps there's something... Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, the change is necessary, yes. But I feel like this is telling you that it's not something you should fear, and that ultimately this is for the better. But like the last few lines in this said, also remember not to take it too seriously. and to remember to also find enjoyment. And the other card is Earth. That's on page 42. Earth says, our spirits weren't made for this place. Like mismatched lovers, unable to fully meet each other's needs. We still try. We carry on making the most of our gravity-bound blink of the eye time. Earth is a language we are still learning how to speak. Clumsily trying to translate our spirit's fire into words that can be understood. A picture that can be felt through a screen. The cosmic joke is that the puzzle pieces will never quite fit together. We will still close our eyes at night trying to quiet the questions that don't make sense here. The medicine of this place is rooting where you are, adapting to the density, chewing over the unknown but not letting it annihilate you. The earth teaches us how to make do, like being on a stranded island and figuring out how to make a spearhead out of stone, a raft out of buoyant wood. It's imperfect, a sliver of the potential, but we learn. Some overshoot and destroy, extracting and building with no real purpose. Others become paralyzed, fading away. The lesson here is learning to walk into the storm and not look for an axe or a getaway car. It is knowing it will be millennia before we strike the right chord, but we get creative anyway. We clench our fists and fight anyway. We soften our hearts and love anyway. We let our lives be a prayer for the future, for the you and me that will be here again soon. We seek to remember on our trips to this place, and we make friends with the idea that we can't. But we try anyway. The part that sticks out the most to that is keep trying anyway. The only thing we can do when we get knocked down is to get back up. So I hope that message helped in some way. Of course. Thank you for stopping by. And also, it's interesting that you mentioned the tower. The tower is probably one of my defining cards. I perhaps might see it in a different way than other people do. just to me, the tower is a card that that doesn't necessarily have to have a negative connotation attached. I feel like some people associate the tower with being something that's unavoidable. And personally, anyway, I see that as only being the case if you refuse to listen. Sometimes we fear that change, so we continue doing our best. Our best to ignore it or just look away. Particularly when we're called to change and we're afraid to do what it asks of us. But the important part to remember about that is that in order to grow, we need to rip out the bits that are hindering us. If there's something within ourselves or externally that is inhibiting our path to growth, it is best to do whatever we can to remove that obstacle that prevents us from growing. So sometimes, yes, it can be scary. And I very much understand that. There are plenty of things that I have avoided in my life. Plenty of things that I've avoided in my life that I did simply because I was afraid of what that might mean if I suddenly didn't have those things in my life. But the important part of that to remember is that we are only asked to change those because they're an obstacle on our path to growth. Once we remove that, we can begin growing. And hopefully, we'll come out on the other side completely different, yes, in some ways. For me, the tower isn't necessarily a sign of like negativity, and it doesn't necessarily have a negative association attached for me. And I do my best to remember that change is necessary because it's something that'll help me grow. Something that will help me transform. And that is the beautiful part of the tower. can be hard to accept, yes. I apologize that you had to go through that, but I hope that in some way you get something useful out of whatever it was that occurred. And I hope it helps lead you to your path of growth. Also, Sugar Fluffy Bear, I'm so sorry that someone was that rude to you. I hope your day improves. I hope at the very least, your time, you can at least enjoy your time here if you stick around. I hope your day ends on a better note. If you'd like to join the queue, you may do so, it's still open. Also, the command is !readme. Also, Misery, I hope whatever it was that is something that you can heal from. And I wish you the best of luck in your journey of growth. Okay. Yes, I am. Thank you. Also, thank you for stopping by, and thank you for allowing me to give you a reading. This is, as a whole, actually something I'm still quite new to. I've only been, reading for myself for about 6 months now, but it's something I connected to very, very quickly. And something I realized probably only about a month or so ago that, I've had a call to for pretty much my entire life. There was a game in my childhood that I used to play. It's called Loteria, or also known as Mexican Bingo. It's a game that I used to play in my childhood that I recently remembered. And the call to tarot suddenly made sense. That game, Mexican Bingo, if you're unfamiliar with it, has very, very heavy influences and uses a lot of the same symbolism, within tarot. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Misery. I, I hope things improve for you. Also, yes, you were up next, Sugar Fluffy Bear. Let me go ahead and move on to the next in queue. But yes, I hope you got something useful out of your message, Misery. And I hope you enjoyed your time here. Thank you for stopping by. I do appreciate it. Okay. So, Sugar Fluffy Bear, let's see what message this has for you today. What message does Sugar Fluffy Bear need to hear today? So, you have 3 cards here. The first one is balance. The second one is magic. And the third one is wilderness. So balance says 85 here. Okay. Balance says the pendulum will keep swinging. Our lives will always be in flux, which is to say, we will never achieve sustained balance. But perhaps we don't want balance. Maybe what we want is to have enough room to hold it all. Balance is the art of acknowledging both the good and the bad. It's not insisting on peace, but living with space for nuance, allowing for 2 polar opposites to exist together. When people say they want balance in their lives, what they really want is to feel balanced, to feel content and in harmony, grounded and stable. This neutrality can be found in non-reactivity, of not getting swept up or reactive, just letting life unfold and responding in the best way that you know how. Our first instinct is often to categorize things, good versus bad, healthy versus unhealthy, right versus wrong. But life, and we ourselves, are often everything. All of it exists within us. It is when we can accept this that we feel balanced. So out of that particular one, the part that sticks out the most to me is letting life unfold and responding in the best way you know how. The second card is magic. Magic says, our magical practice, whatever it may be, is alive. It is a growing thing. It blooms and sheds right along with us. But the most powerful thing we can do is let it be our own. Teachings and study are critical. We must be respectful of tradition and those that have come before. That being said, what works for others may not work for us. And our magic is far more powerful when we aren't trying to be something that isn't authentic to us. You may not be someone who is called to elemental magic, but you see it everywhere, in books, courses, and on social channels. This exposure may lead you to believe that you have to practice the way everyone else does. But your gift may be in song. Reclamation is a big part of magic, reclaiming what is truly yours, that which lives deep within your bones. Let yourself get tuned to the key of your magic, and trust that the more you allow and let go, the more it shows up. The part that I'm getting out of that one, the two parts that stick out the most to me are, what works for others may not work for us. And the line that says, this exposure may lead you to believe that you have to practice the way that everyone else does. Those are the two parts that stick out the most to me. Essentially saying that, perhaps that, like, comparing yourself to others, isn't really useful. And then the third card is wilderness. Wilderness says, the wilderness is where you can expect the unexpected. It is also where a slight miscalculation can mean your life. It offers many lessons, one of the most important being precision. Do you look for food or do you build a shelter? What do you carry with you and what do you leave? What leaves you vulnerable and what fortifies you? This space you are in is requiring this level of calculation. It may not be your life on the line, though it is a period of choice. There are many paths, but to stay on the one you want, you must think everything through carefully. It is both intuition and logic, but not a place of emotion. You must make hard decisions and allow things to be stripped away from you, trusting that it all has a purpose. There is a feeling of aloneness here. Even if you have plenty of support, some journeys must be traveled alone. So you can take total ownership over each choice you make, not looking outward for rescue, but truly knowing that you will rise to the occasion. It is likely an uncomfortable place. There is no fire escape, but it is a place where you will get stronger. When you leave the wilderness, and you will leave, you will not be the same. The part that sticks out the most to me is actually the last couple of lines there. To remember that this is only temporary. You will get out of it eventually. So just keep doing your best. Doing your best to hang on. But know that it will pass. I hope there's something in that message that you can identify with. Of course. Thank you for stopping by. And thank you for joining. I hope there was something in there that you could identify with, and something in there that you, something within that message that could help you. Like I said earlier, I hope your day improves. Or at least, I hope it ends on a more positive note. Thank you. Thank you for stopping by. Okay. Are you still here, Togglefall? Okay. Okay. What message does Togglefall need to hear today? card you got is Discovery. Discovery says, we will always want to make sense of things, to package them up nicely, assign them a purpose, and find reason. Discovery asks you not to. When we are uncovering, we do not need to find a label. We don't need to categorize or ascribe a meaning. We do not need to react or project into the future. We just need to stay open, to stay in the moment of discovery. When we attempt to define what's coming up, we are putting up blocks in seeing the whole picture. We want to keep our arms wide, hungry for discovery, to bear witness and let it land within us however it chooses to. We may not see or feel the seeds being planted, but trust that they are. The part that sticks out the most to me is that last line there. We may not see or feel the seeds being planted, but trust that they are. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, like the message there said, trust that there's something else along the way. Whatever that may be. Just remember to stay open to things. I hope that message was helpful in some way. Of course. Thank you for stopping by. Okay. You're up next. Remodel? Ramodel? I hope I'm not pronouncing that horribly. Just Ram? Okay. What message does Ram need to hear today? Abandon. See what that has to say. Six. Abandon says, there is always a last time. Sometimes we think we have found it. The person, the place, the thing, only for enough time to pass to realize it wasn't the world. It was a snow globe that we dared to be real. And like a houseplant that has outgrown its pot, we too must leave sometimes. So we gather our grief and carry it in our shaking hands. Or we walk out with an emptiness that feels like permafrost. Or we steal away like a thief in the night. The shape in which we are leaving is not as important as honoring the knowing. We must bend to it, even when it's hard, even when it's so much easier to stay in our small pot. To abandon is to love the snow globe for what it was. A momentary home. A pocket we whispered our dreams into. And we can find a space for it on the altar of our hearts while we walk the open road. What I'm getting out of that, essentially, is that sometimes letting go of something is necessary to continue growing. Yeah, this deck can be pretty punchy sometimes. Sometimes can also be quite brutally honest. Can I read it again? Sure. I can also put up a little digital version of the booklet too, if that helps you. Let me... 6. So, there's the page in the booklet. I will read it again. There is always a last time. Sometimes we think we have found it. The person, the place, the thing. Only for enough time to pass to realize it wasn't the world. It was a snow globe that we dared to be real. And like a houseplant that has outgrown its pot, we too must leave sometimes. So we gather our grief and carry it in our shaking hands. Or we walk out with an emptiness that feels like permafrost. Or we steal away like a thief in the night. The shape in which we are leaving is not as important as honoring the knowing. We must bend to it, even when it's hard, even when it's so much easier to stay in our small pot. To abandon is to love the snow globe for what it was. A momentary home. A pocket we whispered our dreams into. And we can find a space for it on the altar of our hearts while we walk the open road. again, what I essentially get from that one is that sometimes letting go of something is a necessary step in growth. Whatever it may be that needs to be let go of. But I hope there's some part of that message that you can identify with. I hope there's something. Pull one more? Sure. What message does Ram need to hear today? Second one is intervention. Let's see. Let me put that up here as well. Okay. Intervention says, sometimes the violation is so great that it cannot be overcome. This is the gift. When we have lived in a pattern for so long, we can't dream of escaping it. Or maybe we do dream, but we can't see how to get out. We are blind to the cords that keep us stuck floundering in it. People in our lives that make such a soft bed within the darkness that we take another hit without question. And then the lightning strikes and it all shatters. There's no putting the pin back in the grenade this time. This is the intervention. This is the universe moving with so much force that you have no option but to do it differently. And whether we can see it or not, we co-create these moments. Our desperation to feel better has been crying out for so long, weaving its way through the cosmos, begging to be heard. Eventually, the echo comes back. The intervention is a mother's soft kiss on a skinned knee. The pain can't be taken away, but you can feel that bold love. The love that dares to break the glass, begging you to make a stained glass window so breathtaking it would make God weep. And that's the medicine of the intervention. Yes, the violation is great, but your potential is so much greater. Let yourself be cut off at the knees. You are still as tall as trees. What I'm getting out of that one particularly is the second to last line there is yes, the violation is great, but your potential is so much greater. I'm sorry. essentially, what I'm getting out of these is particularly abandon in saying that sometimes letting go of something is a necessary step towards growth. Intervention is telling you that there is much more potential. So don't give up on it. So hello. Good. I hope whatever it is that you're looking for, I hope you find it. Yeah, that happens sometimes. It's not always necessarily a bad thing, though. Sometimes, sometimes they're there to teach us a lesson. It may be hard to accept at the time, but sometimes that helps us grow further. I hope I hope you can heal from that and eventually move past that. And I hope you find some improvement in that regard soon. I wish you the best of luck. And thank you for stopping by. Also, yes, you may. The command to join is !readme. Not tired. Just a little sore. Body is definitely telling me it's time to go relax soon, but I'm doing well. But, thank you. Also, the command to join is !readme. The message above tells you what command to type. What message do you need to hear today? The downside to this deck is that sometimes they're a bit too slippery. Pretty certain it wants to give you more than one card. It keeps dumping out a few at me. Okay. Just one or two cards, please. What message do you need to hear today? That's it. Also, what is it that you wish to be called? Just JJM? Or what message does JJM need to hear today? Oh, My apologies for that. I think I'm gonna have to edit the settings there for Nightbot. Okay, I'll just call you JJ. Okay. What message does JJ need to hear today? Keeps popping out like 4 cards at me. It's like the third time it's happened, so I think it really just wants you to hear all of these messages. So the first one here is Earth. The second one is Amplify. This deck can certainly be a little punchy sometimes. I apologize in advance if it decides to get a little roasty. The third one is Reflection. And the fourth one is Death. I absolutely love the design on this one. It is so pretty. Okay, so let's start with Earth. Earth is on page 42. Yeah, they're quite beautiful. This deck is called the Empyrean. It is from the Threads of Fate. All of the cards in the deck are lenticular prints, so they all have 2 images that shift depending on the angle that you hold them at. And thus you end up with a card that looks like this. Earth, page 42, right. Let's see. Earth says, our spirits weren't made for this place. Like mismatched lovers, unable to fully meet each other's needs. We still try. We carry on making the most of our gravity-bound, blink of the eye time. Earth is a language we are still learning how to speak. Clumsily trying to translate our spirit's fire into words that can be understood. A picture that can be felt through a screen. The cosmic joke is that the puzzle pieces will never quite fit together. We will still close our eyes at night trying to quiet the questions that don't make sense here. The medicine of this place is rooting where you are, adapting to the density, chewing over the unknown but not letting it annihilate you. The earth teaches us how to make do, like being on a stranded island and figuring out how to make a spearhead out of stone, a raft out of buoyant wood. It's imperfect, a sliver of potential, but we learn. Some overshoot and destroy, extracting and building with no real purpose. Others become paralyzed, fading away. The lesson here is learning to walk into the storm and not look for an axe or a getaway car. It's knowing it will be millennia before we strike the right chord, but we get creative anyway. We clench our fists and fight anyway. We soften our hearts and love anyway. We will let our lives be a prayer for the future, for the you and me that will be here again soon. We seek to remember on our trips to this place, and we make friends with the idea that we can't. But we try anyway. The part that's standing out here to me is to keep trying. There yeah, it can be both sides. They can either be very, very punchy or so beautiful that they kind of make you want to cry. But the type of print that these are called are lenticular prints. It's essentially two images printed on top of each other, and a piece of plastic that's overlaid over the top. The plastic on it has a texture to it that essentially allows it to allows the two images to be seen separately. Oh, here. Lenticular. So these cards are essentially like part plastic, hence they're also just kind of slippery. But they're also pretty durable. The plastic is textured and like if I do this, you can kind of hear it. I don't know if the mic picked that up. It looked like it kind of did, but also didn't. But it has a texture on it that essentially allows the images to be seen separately. And so you get that shift that happens between the two images, depending on the angle that you're holding the card at. And the next one is amplify. Amplify is page. It's actually the next page over. Amplify says, how grand can it be? Most of us know how to follow the slippery slope from a minor concern to a full-blown panic attack. But what about turning the smolder of magic into a blaze? Being born human is to sign off on being limited. Our brains are programmed to fear the unknown. It's why our feet tingle when we're high up. We will shy away from whatever is too much. Being bound by this animalia, we may also seek the cradle when our lungs need the air only found at the peaks. Like a pendulum swinging, sometimes we can only truly grasp something when we have climbed as far as we absolutely can, or until we have scorched the remaining earth around us. Both are magic, and to know when you must go to the ends of a thing is a gift. To amplify is not fearing the avalanche. It's letting yourself get swept up in it, knowing that choosing not to stop the hemorrhage is building a bridge to where you need to be. At the heart of amplification magic is a white flag, flying in the face of safety. It's removing the blockades to the cliff, letting go of the parachute. Safety can stifle. The nest is only as useful as your wings. What parts of your life need to be cracked open? To me, that's saying that sometimes stepping out of our comfort zone is kind of necessary at times. So thank you. I'm sorry about that. I think the third one might be too, because, yeah. If it's the card I think it is, yeah. So reflection is your third card here. Reflection is reflection says, once we see, we can't unsee. And those of us who have had that first taste of seeing ourselves and not shrinking in fear enter into a marriage with the work. It becomes that which we see life through. It's not easy, which is why so few do it. We shed and we shed and we shed. And then we realize we will never stop. We will never stop shedding. We fall in love with this maze, the place we call home, because if there's one thing that truly belongs to us, this is it. To traverse this landscape within us is to be a collector. We collect the memories of moments and traumas, signs and questions. Before we awake, We spend our lives ignoring that which lies below the surface, the ugly we want to edit, the truth we want to pretend doesn't exist. We don't want to explore because we know we will be forced to change. When we finally take the plunge, we start looking for something in everything. Every little thing is significant. Eventually, we hope to land in a place of balance, where we can enter into reflection and inquiry when needed, and enjoy our life without overanalyzing the rest of the time. Each time we loop around this maze, we fall more in love with this process. It stops being a chore we begrudgingly do. We start seeing the beauty in meeting with our pain, of cleaning out our wounds, stitching them up, and keeping the gift they offer us. Reflection is carrying this medicine we've made with us. We get to wear these hard-earned talismans. They become invisible ink on our skin, armoring us up for our future, knowing we can now do things differently. Reflection asks you to find balance in this process. Love it more if that's needed. Go easier on yourself if it's overwhelming you. Life is hard, painful, and heavy, but it is also a game. Don't take it so seriously. That one's a bit punchy, but also a bit gentle. It's kind of both. What I'm getting out of this one is the path to growth is never ending, and accepting that can be very helpful. The message at the end of that as well sticks out to me a bit too, about not taking things so seriously and remembering to enjoy yourself along the way. And let's see. Death is on. Death says, when we become Death's lover, we receive the gift of transformation every day. We learn to climb into the hollows within us, to listen to the wounds that have spent years shouting into the wind. We can lay down and let ourselves feel, sending our fears out in body bags, taking a hatchet to the false roots that have been holding us back. Death asks you to get comfortable letting go. We create so much resistance around this process because we are afraid of change. We don't want to let go of these pieces within us, these stories we tell ourselves, these patterns that keep us safe. Understand that there will always be waxing and waning, grief and acceptance. Try to live in each feeling while also appreciating them as being fleeting. The more dedicated we are to our healing, the easier it gets. We acclimate to the constancy of change, the ever-unfolding nature of truth continually becoming clearer with each death. So overall, like the theme of these 4 cards, essentially, they're telling you to accept the change and also not to fear it. And to remember that the journey of growth is it's something that requires constant work. But that also doesn't mean that every change needs to be massive. The important part is remembering to just keep taking small steps. And eventually you will get to where you want to be. Yeah. So, I hope that there was some part of those messages that you could identify with, and some part of that was helpful. And also thank you for stopping by, and thank you for joining. Good. Thank you. I'm glad the message wasn't too punchy. But thank you for stopping by. I'm glad that there was some use in the message. Sure. A collective pull? Yeah, I usually try to close out with a collective anyway, so I was probably going to close the queue here and do that as a final thing before I sign off. So Okay. Let's see. What message do you have for anyone who might be watching right now? So, how about another? Okay. So, first one is portal. The second one is cloak. Okay, bring this back up. Let's see. Portal is on 25. Portal says, your mind is a landscape that you get to travel, and when you pay attention, you quickly become aware of the things that make it feel like dredging along in rugged terrain, as opposed to walking through a meadow. We have all experienced the moments where we hear a song or smell a particular scent, and we are transported to another time and place. In other words, we enter a portal. When we can learn to create these portals for ourselves, life becomes more enchanting. Often the problem is simply our willingness to take the first step. Everyday portals can be choices, feelings, conversations, music, or quite literally anything you decide. For someone who is wanting to be healthier, cooking themselves dinner is a portal to a new way of being. It is not simply the action, but the feelings that come along with it that can open up an entirely new experience. The portal asks you to open your eyes. View each moment as a portal to the next. Where can you go? Which one do you want to step through? Where channels are often more thought and feeling oriented, portals also include action. Do not buy into any of the doubts you may be feeling. These old patterns are attempting to prevent you from growing. It's time to step boldly in the direction you want to go in. Essentially, what I get out of this one is that you have the power to change whatever it is you wish. Taking the first step is the most important part in doing so. And the second card is Cloak. Cloak says, there are times for being transparent, forthcoming, and open. This is not one of them. Whatever you are working on, processing, or exploring, it is best to do it under wraps for now. This is not to encourage paranoia or fear, but simply to protect yourself. Some roads are best traveled at night. Some flames are best lit inside. Some ideas are best not shared. Some projects are best kept secret, at least for the time being. Respect this moment enough, whatever it is for you, to give it its best chance by keeping it within. Let it take root inside you. Protect your time and space from any external forces that attempt to interrupt and let it grow. You will know when it's time to step outside and let it be seen. The part of this that sticks out the most to me is probably the part that says, let it take root inside you. Protect your time and space from any external forces that attempt to interrupt, and let it grow. To me, for some reason, these two cards together are telling me these changes um, that we create for ourselves. Remember to do it for yourself and not anyone else. And also, perhaps, don't let anyone take that away from you. Yeah, they were. I feel like those ones were a little bit more punchy, but particularly if you like combine them. Still, also somehow in a way, gentle. But anyway, um, if anyone needed to hear that message as well, I hope it helped you in some way. It certainly is important to remember that these changes are for ourselves, first and foremost. You should never change at the whim of someone else. If you're doing something, make sure it's for you and no one else. But anyway, thank you to anyone who stopped by. If there was something that you could get out of any of these messages, even if they weren't for you directly, I hope they helped you in some way. If you were just silently watching, not really talking, didn't really join the queue, that is quite alright. Regardless, thank you for sharing a bit of your time with me. But thank you all for stopping by. I very much appreciate it. You too, thank you. Anyway, I believe it's time to call it here, so again, thank you for stopping by, and I will see you all later, hopefully.